All right, this way the people news. One more time at it. Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Never look straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Use your Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge. All right. Don't forget. Uh, this is educational. Okay. And I'm just hearsay. Okay. Do your own research. All right. Let's proceed forward.
Out what is what.
Thank
I
you.
follow what the
Thank you for
sign
the
says.
We have clearly established and you agree it is not your jurisdiction, correct?
No, I did not agree with that, sir. I don't know. I follow the signs. I feel
She's
like
already answered the question, Mr.
Yeah.
Carolico. She does not know. Next question.
Okay. So, next question is
Remember that keyword. She does not know. That magistrate right there should be leaning on his side. Period. That is reasonable doubt. She does not know.
you issued this citation under the City Code 16.10.050, correct?
yes, sir, I did.
Have you read that code before issuing the citation?
Sir, it comes up automatically when I issue the citation.
That is not what I asked. I asked, have you read the code of that?
Yes,
That
sir,
particular
previously,
code.
but I could not quote it for you.
Okay. Let me rephrase my question, because I don't think you understood it again, and you're again dodging that question.
I'm not
Prior to
dodging
issuing
it,
the
sir.
citation, listen carefully to my question
Yes,
and don't
sir.
interrupt me. Listen carefully before I finish the question, then you answer it. Prior,
You can tell she's all riled up. This is not an everyday occurrence, people riling her up, right? Challenging her like this. Usually they're kind of nice spoken and all that. And I don't think he's just like a normal people that he just sounds direct, but other people may take it rudely, right? He kind of he kind of speaks with some form of authority, like kind of New Yorkers or New Jerseys, right? They they sound rude to some people, but it's just really just directness. And when you deal with people like that, I had a hard time talking to people in New York due to just the direct bluntness, and the way they speak, it just sounds like they're just in your face, right? And it took a while for me to calm down because that kind of made me sound like it's time to fight.
issuing that citation on the date of the issue of the citation, 05/20/24, have you read the City Code 16.10?
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you. She's already answered that question, and you're not allowed to repeat questions. She already answered that she read it, but she could not quote it to you. Next question.
Okay, so let's look at that citation and let's look at the code 16.10.050. It reads, it is unlawful for a pedestrian or the operator of any vehicle to disobey the instruction of a traffic control device placed in accordance with the provisions of this title unless otherwise directed by the authorized officer. That first paragraph. Do you agree with that?
Sir,
I'm going to read it, Officer Parley. So it says it is unlawful for a pedestrian or the operator of any vehicle to disobey the instructions of a traffic control device placed in accordance with the provisions of this title unless otherwise directed by an authorized officer. That's the first sentence in that code.
I do agree with that, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Now, Miss Officer Parley, can you find me any language in that paragraph, in that first sentence, that gives you the authority or has any language that refers to parking violations?
No, I cannot, sir, but I also will say that the city of Portland, county of Multnomah, and state of Oregon, that is in a zone that I police. So because of that, I feel I do have the authority.
Are you testifying? Because you sound like
No,
you're
you're,
testifying.
sir, you keep asking me questions that I feel like I've answered already. And I feel like you're parsing out, splitting hairs to the 11th degree. I'm not sure where you're.
That you're splitting hairs and but that's what law is, right? They're splitting hairs. That's how we get into this separation. What's constitutional? What's not constitutional? What statute? What's, you know, how does this statute apply to a man and a woman? How does this statute apply to persons? How this statute applies to officers, right? These are all legit, and they had to be split hairs to get a clearly established point of view.
Going with this. It is a male.
Splitting hairs. What do you mean
So,
by
Officer
splitting hairs?
Parley, anytime that he asks a question that you feel has already been answered, you can say asked and answered.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Right. So, what do you mean by splitting hairs?
I
That's
mean,
irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
next question. Yes, next question.
Judge, are you testifying for the officer?
I'm not testifying, I'm making
Are you
ruling
the plaintiff?
objections.
Are you
Next
the plaintiff?
question.
She didn't raise the objection. You don't raise the objection, Judge. What do you think you're doing? You're going to violate my constitutional rights.
I'm
and
there,
due
Mr.
process.
Krylenko. Actually, I can raise objections, and I just did. So do you have another question, or would you like to move to your side of the story, sir?
Why don't you just
Okay, so he getting riled up, but I understand why. Because there is a legit dispute there. Splitting hairs is a legit thing. That's how we separate whether it's legal or not legal. So no, the judge stepped out of her authority there.
stop testifying for the officer? And why don't the officer just keep answering questions instead of giving her statements as testimony? So again, I didn't get
the law, and we're going to follow the procedures in this courtroom.
right.
Either accept them, or you can hang up and stop your trial. But we're not going to allow you to control this trial. I'm the one in control here. I'm the one that tells you how it goes, not you. So
You're not
you have
respectful,
violated the
Judge.
procedures.
respectfully, Judge. You're
I
not the one who
ruled
violated
already,
the
and you need to
constitutional
move
right
on.
to due process. All right. Are we moving on? So let's read.
Again, she actually stepped her bounds. Now, I told you guys before, right? In this case, she was actually in good faith and she was correct and all that. In this one right here, no, it needs to be clearly established.
Paragraph. It is unlawful for any person to refuse to fail to comply with any lawful order, signal, or the direction of any officer displaying the back with the legal authority to direct, control, or regulate traffic. Officer Parley, do you read anything in that code relating to parking?
I enforce it as I'm told to do. That's all I
Officer
can
Parley,
ask and answer.
Officer Parley, this is a yes or no question. Do you
She
read?
answered the question, sir.
She did not answer my question. This is a yes.
And right here, there we go again, right? She did not answer the question. She did a roustabout and did a bypass and said, I'm just doing my job, what I'm told. No, that's not the question. The question is these codes talking about parking or not? And she's not answering it, and the judge is backing her up. That was actually a legit question, and she needs to clarify it. And the judge is not letting her clarify it.
No question.
I think what would work
Did you
best here,
read
Mr.
anything?
Krylenko, I believe that you're abusing and battering the witness, and so we're going to move on.
It's my
You
accuser.
can now tell me your side of the story and what your
Yeah.
argument is.
She is not a witness. She's my accuser. She's the officer. And badgering my...
Now, on my behalf, people, I'm sitting here. I'm not an attorney, not giving legal advice. This is my educational point of view, okay? As a man, not as a person. The accuser is really supposed to be one or two things. The federal agency of the post office or it's the city, but them two are supposed to be the accuser, and she's supposed to be a witness. However, the state or the post office never written the ticket. She did. He is right that she's actually the claimant due to she's the one that's appearing. She's making a claim that he broke some type of statute. Now, they flip it on us and say she's a witness, but that's fine and dandy too. Where's the Mr. and Mrs. Seattle to be here, right here, to make this claim for this witness to be valid, right? And if there is no Seattle saying I'm making the claim, then it still falls back on her making the claim. So now the court's not going to agree with me on this, obviously. Okay, just saying. I think he's correct. She's the claimant, and she's the one saying that he's committed some type of offense or harm, loss, damages, or something like that. Texas Code says they do it, but she's the one making the claim. And I know you guys are going to say I'm wrong, but that being said, who's the man or woman making the claim? And when are they going to step forward so I can give remedy and the Sixth Amendment to be able to face my accuser? Well, she's the only one it's a man or a woman. She's the only one stepping forward. And she's the only one that signed the ticket. So don't that sound like she's making a claim?
Accuser does not fall under the category of a witness. She's not a
Mr.
witness.
Krivlenko, would it be okay for you to pause and take a breath? Maybe gather yourself? Maybe we could do the other trial and come back to you?
No, maybe
Really
you should
upset.
just start violating my. Maybe you should
People make
just
good
stop violating
decisions
my
when they're
rights.
upset. So we're gonna wait until you can actually listen to me without interrupting me while I'm talking. And then I'm gonna repeat everything I just said to
You
make
want to
sure.
pause and come back? You want to pause and come back? Do you want to pause and come back, Judge? Or do you want to just dismiss this case because clearly this violation, alleged violation, the statute, the code under which it was written has nothing to do with parking. And this Officer Farley has no authority to even issue any citations on federal property. And you're sitting here badgering me. You're sitting here accusing me. You're sitting there on your presiding bench and violating my rights and violating my due process. And in fact, right now you're helping the city and helping the Officer Farley, placing her in the position of a defendant. Are you kidding me? She's my accuser. She's the officer. So I think Judge, you better
I'm done, Mr. Krivlenko, and I'll have my say.
let me put it to you really clearly, Judge. Judicial misconduct carries consequences, and there are remedies. There are remedies to remedy judicial misconduct. So please, don't think that I'm one of those defendants that is going to sit and take this nonsense from you. Understand? So if you want to pause, that's up to you. Right now, I'm moving you, the court, to immediately dismiss this case on the issues and grounds and defenses that I have just raised. This code has nothing to do with parking, and Ms. Farley has no authority to issue parking citations on federal property. Period. I move to dismiss this case.
And you have to respect the people to actually, sometimes get out of line to try to put our public service back in line. How many times have you actually seen judges actually blow up on the bench? Now, remind you, he is not a bar member at all. And they say that even, you have to mind the rules and all that, where it's just fine. But what's the easy way of putting it? I think he can be more direct in more honorable way, but I just don't think that's the particular personality, and I think the court's got to give that into consideration. You know, kind of like New Yorkers, right? And if I remember correctly, he's from Russia. Russia speaks in a different tone and a different way. You know, there's always people always living their life in defense. You cannot expect people in a war-fested area to know how to speak in a nice and honorable way. They're always on defense, and he is on a defense.
All right, Mr. Krivolenko, did you have any other arguments or defenses before I rule?
I'm done.
Excellent. Your motion is denied. I find that the officer validly issued the ticket and the fine is $55. Your trial is done and you're free to disconnect.
I will move for appeal.
Good. I think you should.
I
All
will.
right. Ms. Lynn, are you ready for your trial, ma'am?
And yeah, when are you going to get justice in a lower courts? And when are you going to get justice by a magistrate? He's going to have to appeal, but this is such a pain in the butt to always appeal things. And this right here is being clearly established that she didn't even know she has jurisdiction or not. Well, you know, she needs to actually go back and research, as the officer, do I have actually jurisdiction in this matter? Brought up the codes. The codes didn't say anything that had to do with parking, but that's what he's ticketed for with these codes. Well, that's in contrast of what the ticket's for. Now, that may be the city's fault, but that's not his fault. And her of lack of knowledge in knowing that, hey, this may be an issue I need to study, because in fact, I'm led to believe and do believe, and I'm not an attorney, not giving legal advice, that she lost her jurisdiction, and that right there, she is on the behalf of the city. She's a bought and paid for clerk by the city. No more, no less. And she's in conflict of interest. That's just my opinion. This is We the People News. Bye, y'all. Oh, before I leave, always remember, quit looking straight forward. When you think outside the box, you look all around you, you can see things more clearly. All right? You don't have that blindfold on. Okay? A blind man can walk better with a walking stick than he can without a walking stick. He challenged the jurisdiction of that officer. She did not give any justification on there. Matter of fact, she keeps on saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. The judge says she has jurisdiction, but he read the codes. That judge knows, magistrate, knows it didn't really apply to parking. Okay? All right. Just saying. My opinion only. And I'm hearsay. This will be the People News. Bye, y'all.